Bitchute finally got the video. So before I start the video, I want to thank the Austin newspaper that leaked this. This should have been made public earlier, and all I'm hearing is crying from Uvalde police chief and other government officials saying it's unfair that it was released and the parents shouldn't have to see this and they should have been able to see it for... You know what? They've had this shit well over a month, if not 2 months. It's bullshit that they didn't show the parents and share this earlier. So I don't want anybody buying this government bullshit about the newspaper shouldn't have released it and they just wanted views. That's what our free press is supposed to do. They're supposed to hold government accountable. They're not supposed to let government hide shit. This video should be public because it shows the cowardness and everything that I've been saying and others have been saying, except for Officer Tatum, who thinks these guys are all heroes. This video shows clearly that these guys are a bunch of freaking indecisive cowards. Not one man or one set of balls in the whole freaking group. It also shows the callous and coldness of this freaking crazy mentally ill shooter. And it does not make this a gun issue. It makes it a crazy person issue and a lack of accountability and coward cop issue. And they want to make it a gun issue. Here we go. So this shows where he wrecks. Right here he wrecks in there. That's pretty good video of the wreck. So at first a lot of people were saying he was being chased. The cops were following him. Remember, he just shot his grandmother and he grabbed his guns and came here. So he's driving fast. This is what you call understeer. He turned the wheels. He wanted to turn, but his speed, inertia, and all his forward movement went straight because the two front wheels, when they turned, they didn't have enough contact patch. Even though it was dry, this happens a lot in snow or water or ice. You get understeer. You turn your wheels, your car keeps going straight. His car turns a little bit, but because of his speed, he goes straight. Ready? Here we go. And he goes straight. So he goes down the ditch, and that's where he breaks it. I don't know why this was such a secret video and why they couldn't release this earlier. You know, they want everybody to say government is protecting us instead of, you know, sharing information and let thinking people hold our government accountable and let us think what happened versus the government telling us what happened and we have to believe it. So a couple guys are going to come in from over here. I'm going to bump this up a little bit. Here they come. Here's the two guys that get shot, or that get shot at. Came over from the funeral home. They hear the crash, and they're going to go over and help this guy out. And this is where supposedly he pulls out the gun and fires at him. Now, there's no audio, so we can't tell when they fire. But I'm going to take a swinging wild-ass guess and say when they turn around and start hauling ass, he's shooting. Okay? I know it's just a guess. Rick, you don't know. You're making conclusion. Whatever. I'm just telling you. Okay, right about now, I think they're shooting. Rick, you don't know that. So this guy right here, his feet are moving, and this reminds me of the old joke. Two guys walking through the forest, and they run across a bear. And one guy bends down and starts putting his tennis shoes on. He goes, the other guy says, hey, you can't outrun that bear. Why are you putting your shoes on? He goes, I ain't got to outrun a bear. I only got to outrun you. So right here, this guy takes off first and gets the lead, but he falls. And then the other guy takes the lead. And this guy waited a long time, but he made up some ground. And now he kind of passes him up right here. I think he takes the lead. Maybe not. Oh, there he is. He's taking the lead. Okay, so they do the 50-yard run from the gunfire dash. This coward, freaking mentally ill piece of shit that his dad's running around saying, I didn't do anything wrong. So here's where he starts walking, and then again, I think he fires either outside the school lever. Again, I'm going to bump this up a little bit here. It shows him walking across here. He jumps the fence. This is the fence they were talking about that he jumped. Remember, he went to this school, so he knows the layout. So there he is, walking with his AR and ammo. According to the police, he's carrying freaking 40,000 rounds and tank rounds with him. I mean, I don't know how he carried all this ammo, but whatever. Climbed a fence pretty easy, and so he walks across here. I'm going to probably make this a couple parts because this is an hour video. And with me talking, it's going to be longer. Walking through the parking lot, I think a 911 call comes in to where A teacher sees him. So it looks like there's 1, 2, oh shit. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So there's a lot of adults in this school. I mean, the way it came out first, we only heard about 2 teachers dying and a couple teachers getting shot. But it appears like it's a regular day. Remember, they were doing an award ceremony, and then the kids were released, and they could have went home, and they decided to stay. I've got a whole playlist where I go from the day 1 in the first report to where the cops were heroes, and they did a really good job, and they went in and killed the guy. And now we're getting the other side of the story. Okay, Hillcrest Funeral, cell phone, Robb Elementary. So I don't know who's in this car, and how do they don't know there was a shooting. I think this is the guy walking around here. If this person is in this car, look, if you don't have a weapon, you don't have a gun or something to defend yourself against somebody like that, and somebody's out there, your car is a huge weapon. I mean, you know, it's several thousand-pound machine that's moving very quickly, that can accelerate, and when it hits something, it does damage. And most people that have a car coming at them, they're not just going to stand and shoot at you. They could, but I'm just telling you, this person, if they knew this was this guy, they could have put their car in reverse and tried to ram him. I'm not saying they should have. They want to be a hero. I get it. I tell you, don't get involved. But in a situation where kids are about to be victimized, sometimes you got to take a risk and do things that may not turn out well. And you don't have the ability. You have the ability to choose to do that. But I think morally you have an obligation to, I have to do something to protect these kids. So I thought he went in this door. So the audio is pretty bad. They're supposed to release, the government is going to release this, and they may have better audio. Someone said there's better audio out there. You hearing some shots fired? Okay, so here, right here is where he's going in. This is another view. This is a cell phone video. I wonder who was videotaping this. Huh. And here he comes in the door. Now, what surprises me here, now remember, this guy, normally when we're chasing criminals and bad guys who either just committed armed robbery, a bank robbery, domestic violence, they shot in a house, gang members running, normally, as a cop, when we're chasing bad guys, they're more in a panic. They're more trying to get away, and they're not thinking clearly, and they do stupid shit, and they can't get through a door, and they trip, and they fall, and so they're really in a panic. This guy appears to be unusually calm and controlled. Now, obviously, he's a crazy guy, and he's freaking mentally ill, and he's an evil piece of shit, but he just seems very calm and deliberate. He opens the door. He's not running. He's not panicking. Walking deliberately, looking around, carrying his gun. Now, this video is going to invoke some really odd emotions because, I mean, just think about this guy just shot his grandmother in the face. Texas, he did it. Took her car, crashed the car, just shot at 2 innocent guys. And he's walking in here like he's going to, have lunch. I mean, this is why this is not a gun issue, and this is a evil human piece of shit issue. But, and later it's going to be a incompetent, lowering standards cop coward issue. But this is never a gun issue, okay? I don't know if I can say that enough. So, I mean, when you see this guy, just think, he's walking, he's done all this before, and he's about to walk into a classroom with helpless, unarmed kids and cold-bloodedly kill them when they're not resisting and they're scared and they're crying and they're screaming. And he is going to do that without an ounce of remorse. I mean, to try and understand this, and for people to try and, we need backgrounds, and we need this, and we need more laws, and we need more gun control. You cannot fix evil and just hate with any freaking law. Laws only affect good people. And anyone that thinks this is a good law or a good guy and laws would stop him, well, that just makes you an idiot. And anyone that believes you, a bigger idiot. But I digress. Here we go. So I'm kind of wondering, is this video a tracking video or is someone operating this? Because it seems to follow him, and I'm wondering if, okay, right here, when he walked, I was kind of like, this is kind of odd. He's dropping. He kind of peeks. He does do a little peek around the corner. So right here, I think he kind of clears this wall right here. So he is thinking a little tactically. When he comes around this corner, he kind of pauses. Right here, if you notice, damn, I keep stopping it right before. Watch him actually do pretty good tactics here. A lot of people who aren't thinking clearly tactically would have had their gun stick out first. When we're training cops, it's very important that you don't telegraph where you are or where you're coming from. And new cops will walk and their gun will clear this first, which will alert anybody that, hey, a person's about to stick his head out. Let me aim by the gun and then I'll get a shot. He holds his gun down behind this wall and he stays in a position of cover. If you draw a straight line from here to here, he stays behind that line and then does a little peek around a corner. He's thinking, and then right here he kind of gets relaxed. He kind of fixes his hair. He hangs the gun down. I mean, this is such a sick, deranged individual. And nobody wants to talk about it or blame him. They want to blame this thing he's carrying. I mean, it's like blaming this hand sanitizer for when a cop uses it later like a normal routine. Again, this video appears to be tracking him. So I'm really curious if anybody knows, is that a motion tracking or is somebody operating this? My guess is somebody's operating it. I can't see it motion with a bunch of kids running around a hallway 24/7. The camera would wear itself out. So I have to kind of, I know it's a conclusion or I'm jumping to conclusions, but I'm thinking somebody is working this and following this guy. Okay, so here's a little kid. They blurred him out, and I think another kid looks later out of a bathroom, but I don't remember seeing it. So this kid's kind of like, what's going on? He kind of heard a gunshot. He sees it. He doesn't use tactics. He walks around. Bad move. He's a kid. I get it. I'm not cracked. Somebody, man, why are you picking on a kid? I'm not picking on him. I'm just telling you the difference between this guy when he paused and stayed behind and looked, and this kid just walked right into danger. This is what the old saying is. Kids don't see around corners. They don't see dangers around corners. They don't look ahead. They don't think ahead. They kind of live in the moment. So this kid walked around here exposing himself, even though he knows there's a guy, and he seems a little concerned, and he's curious, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. Now, if this was my kid, I would have been chewing him out later saying, dude, you had a doorway exit here. I've told you, when shit happens, you create distance. Get the hell out of the building. Through a window, through a door, through a crawl space. Do not hide in place. Do not hang around danger. Run. Create distance. Don't stop running till you can't run anymore. That's what I think this kid should have done. Now, I don't think this kid would end up getting shot, but he panics, turns, and hides. Now, the audio seems off here to me. The shooting starts, but you can hear the gunfire, but it doesn't look like he's... So there must be a delay, because the first round, this gun was on the ground. Watch this first round, I'll pause. The gun isn't even raised up. Why would he shoot into the floor? So, because the audio's off, that may give some other, disproportionate perceptions on what's going on as this video goes through. So this kid's looking, and a shot's already been fired, but he's not reacting. I think when he hears the first shot, that's when he runs. See the flinch on the kid? That's the first shot he heard. Watch the flinch. Flinch. That's what he heard, and he ran. Good reaction. He's creating distance. He's running. Good for him. Okay? Smart kid. Didn't say, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what? Can I see? Yeah, smart kid. All right? So, we heard earlier that a teacher was shot through the door. He shot through the window and entered. It doesn't look like the door was locked. And it wasn't locked when the cops showed up. So all this shit about the door was barricaded and we need to look for a key was all bullshit. But if you talk to Officer Tatum, he'll tell you that they were heroes and they did a good job. I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut the cops a little break in this. Not a lot, but I'm going to give you kind of the cop side on where I think some of the shit that's going on is a reasonable delay and confusion. Now this part right here to where he's just shooting, when they said he walked in a room and fired over 100 rounds, I originally thought that's kind of bullshit. I don't believe that. But you know what? They had more information and they had this video. And listening to all these rounds, I didn't try to count, but he fired a lot of freaking rounds. And for me to sit here and just think of those scared, poor kids crying and in fear, and he's in there doing that, and then these cops show up, and they don't go in for 77 minutes, it's disgusting. Now, in all fairness, the cops didn't see this video. They weren't there when he fired all these rounds. However, he's an active shooter, and protocol is you find that son of a bitch and you kill him, otherwise he will keep killing. He's not trying to get away. He doesn't want to negotiate. This is not a hostage situation. He is a deranged maniac killer, and he's killing innocent kids, and you hunt him down like the dog he is, and you kill him. Otherwise, he will keep killing. Every cop is trained that. I've done videos on a protocol. These cops all went through the training. They know that's the protocol. And the cowards stood out here in fear behind shields. So I'll get to that. Here's kind of the sad part. They block out kids screaming. So even when this pops up, muting out kids screaming, man, it just pulls at your heartstrings. What a piece of shit. So I'm wondering what happened here to cause him to back out of a room. We don't know this, and this is unfortunate. But something, and I'm going to go back 10 seconds here, 5 seconds. Watch him come out of this room. Almost as if he's moving away from something. So what caused that? Was a kid rushing him? Was a teacher rushing him? I mean, there's nobody in there but I think 2 teachers, maybe 3, and a bunch of kids. This is very, if I was doing the investigation and I was interviewing witnesses, this would be something I would be focusing on the kids. At one point, he backed out of the room. Do you know why he did that or what happened? I'm already at almost 20 minutes. That's a lot of rounds. And this is a cold-blooded freaking piece of shit. There's nothing in there but unarmed kids and unarmed teachers. Wow. The evil. This another reason I think this video should be shown is because a lot of people don't like to see evil and they want to avoid it and bury their heads in the sand, and they want to think government is here to protect you and government is good and you don't need that mean gun and this can never happen to me. I'm telling you, people, I've been around for a while. The evil that is out there is really, it's literally unbelievable. until you investigate it, you experience, you see the carnage, and you deal with these crazy people afterwards and talk to them. This is what regular people need to realize and see. And that's why I'm a biggie on free sharing of information and this censorship, this government telling you what to think and how to think and trying to protect you from all the dangers and evils so you think you're safe. To me, that just sets up a society to be sheep and to fail. What a piece of shit. It's funny how none of the news is really promoting hate to this guy. You know, they'll say his name. They'll say he's a poor mental illness guy, but they don't promote hate. And I'm telling you right now, this dude deserves every ounce of hate he can get. He is an evil, wicked piece of shit that destroyed. Oh my God, it's just freaking so sickening. I would have loved to go in there and run in and freaking tap his ass. Okay, so right here, it looks like either gases or dust. So I don't know if he's shooting at somebody on the ground. It doesn't look like he shot out this window, but you see gases and dust come out of here. Watch right here. Oh, there it is. So this almost looks like in between a wall, which means he might have fired very close range to the wall, and that's why that gases was coming out. I think it's gases. I mean, it could be a shadow, but it almost looked like gases from the round. What a piece of... Listen to all those rounds. Now, the AR-15 haters are going to say it's the magazine's fault, it's the amount of rounds, and it's the gun. It's none of that. It's none of that. If he would have got a car and ran over a bunch of kids and backed up and ran over them and ran over them and ran through the schoolyard and killed 50, 100 kids, they would not be calling for banning cars and cars are bad and gasolines. They just wouldn't do it. So just don't fall for that shit. I mean, I would like to think I have a little bit of a higher educated audience who can critically think, because I try not to tell you what to think. I give you my opinion. I give you as much information, and then I allow you to use your own critical thinking and come to your own conclusion. And sometimes we don't agree, and that's cool. That's what's great about America. But this is not a ammo or gun or magazine issue, no more than it would be a car or gas or speed issue, or, you know, a lunchroom knives and we can't have knives and we need to control knives, or a poison issue. If somebody comes in there and throws fentanyl on all the kids and give them overdose and kills them, it would not be a fentanyl issue. It would be a border issue and a failure of government for letting that come across. It is a failure to hold criminals accountable. It is a failure of people not being able to defend themselves and to stop evil immediately when it happens, instead of hiding and waiting for government to show up like you're about to see, and have government be indecisive and do nothing to help you and allow the carnage to continue. Because when you give government the ability to protect you, you also give government the ability to not protect you. All right, 23 minutes. Let me see where we're at here. Every round I just picture a kid, fear, pain, death, destruction. Even the kids that aren't being shot. Every round is echoing. A round in a room just so loud, your ears are ringing. The room is probably smelling up with smoke, filling with smoke. You smell it. What a freaking jerk. Okay, so this is the first cop I see here. See him walking the bottom here? So, we're at 7:58 here, minutes. And the first cop is in the building. Now, there's been cops outside. Remember, before this happened, there was a school resource officer that was driving around and drove past the dude outside. And there was also a guy who had a shot at him, I think 100 yards away, with a long rifle. And he supposedly asked for permission to shoot. And by the time he either didn't get permission or didn't get answered, he was inside the school. So this could have been prevented. The guy could have shot him outside. And the guy that didn't shoot said he was concerned about hitting children. Well, if he was concerned about hitting children, why did he ask for permission to shoot? See, that's where I call bullshit. And when I'm doing critical interviewing skills on somebody and I'm trying to pick apart the truth and fiction and their lies and maybe confusion, when a guy says, I didn't shoot because I thought I might hit a kid, but yet he asked on the radio, do I have permission to shoot? So did he not shoot because he didn't have permission? Because if he didn't want to shoot because he was concerned about children, why would he ask for permission to shoot? It doesn't make sense. So if it doesn't make sense, I question it. Okay, so these two guys doing a good thing. They're heading to the shooter. They're not really communicating. They're not hugging the wall. They're not paired up. This is where I'm going to start cutting these cops a little slack on their tactics or confusion. Because, you know, I've been to scenes where it's just chaotic. And you do what you can, and you kind of, you know, the more street savvy you are, you look around at what officers are doing, and then you start evaluating if they're doing that, what can I be doing? I need to do this. I wonder if anybody's doing that. I don't see anybody doing that. Let me try to do this. So there's this, depending on the experience of the officer, there's this scene evaluation, and it's done in an emergency way, and it's very rapid. And I'm not bragging, but that's kind of where I feel at home when it's chaotic and it takes action, because I don't have a problem acting and doing things very quickly. You know, in the military, they kind of teach that, you know, even doing the wrong thing is better than doing nothing. You have to do something. So these guys come in, not a lot of coordination, but they take action. So he's got a long gun. So this shit about Tatum calling me delusional because I said the poor cops were freaking cowards, and he's like, no, Rick, they didn't have shields and you don't understand, and I have an inside source. Well, his inside source obviously wasn't this video, because this clearly shows that they are cowards. They were very disorganized. They didn't take action, and they let this guy stay in there for 77 minutes. And it's bullshit, and they were wrong. And if Tatum wants to continue to defend them, well, then you know what? He's exactly what all my viewers told me he was. He's a cop lover and defender no matter what they do, and he'll never go against his blue line, because that's where his loyalties are. He's not about truth. He's not about honor, and he's not about calling it out as what it is. He's about protecting the blue. And that's what everybody told me about him. And when he came on a couple times, he told me he wasn't like that. And he seemed like a good guy. And he's still a good guy. I think he does good things. But I do think if he can't admit that he was freaking wrong on this, then I don't trust him and I don't believe anything he says. Sorry, Tate. Not sorry. Anyway, we're at 29 minutes, so I'm going to start a part 2. All right?